Hello, hello. Welcome to Come Back Yoga, All Levels Yoga. I am Paige Clark. We're going to give it just 1 or 2 more minutes to get started today. So get out any motion that your body's calling for, maybe a few deep breaths, whatever you need before we get your practice started today. I will say I try to teach without any props, but if you know that you like to bring the ground closer for that sense of security, feel free to grab a chair, side table, pillows, anything like that will work. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be a cork yoga block, anything to just bring the ground closer if that makes you feel more secure. We're going to get started standing today. And what we're going to work on today is how does our body feel when we're kind of out of routine or out of sync? So a standard yoga class has a lot of sun salutations. Sun salutations, step your right foot forward, do a flow, step your right foot back, step your left foot forward, do a flow. Very standard. So today we're going to do some moon salutation hybrid type of flow, which means we're going to go forward and backward, not necessarily one side then the other, but doing it more as a motion. So we might face the back of your mat for a second. I promise I will bring you back to the front, but that is definitely out of routine for a standard yoga class. So just check in with your body. Notice your chest, shoulders, hips, anything that might just feel a little discomfort because you're not in your normal routine. We're going to start by inhaling your arms up. Fill your chest up, reach your fingertips to the sky, and then sigh it out. Try to make a noise if you can. You're going to do that again. Inhale, fill your chest up. Maybe reach your chest towards the sky a little bit. Fingertips as far towards the ceiling as you can get them. And then on your exhale, exhale it out. We're going to go a little faster. Your own breath. Inhale. Exhale. Just getting a little bit of that anxious energy out. Inhale. Exhale. Start to pick up the speed to whatever pace feels good for you. You might feel your heart rate increase a little bit. That's okay. If it feels too fast, go ahead and slow back down. Go at your pace. About 5 to 10 more breaths here. Always listening to your body first and listening to me second. This is always your practice. About 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Wherever you are, last inhale with me. Exhale, let your arms fall. Next inhale, bring your shoulders to your ears, scrunch your shoulders up to your ears, and then exhale, roll them back and down. We're going to do that again. Inhale, shoulders to your ears, shoulders back and then down. Little circles with our shoulders. Inhale up, back and down. Really trying to get some motion, opening up that chest. Inhale, shoulders up, back and down. 3 more like that at your own pace. Shoulders up, back and down. You might be feeling a little fatigue in your shoulders. This is an intense stretch. I'm there with you, and I promise this is our last one. Down, and just loosely shake out your arms. Shake out any muscle fatigue, any achy soreness spots. Next inhale, lift your arms over your head. And then grab your right wrist with your left fingers and start to lean to the left. If this has any discomfort in your neck at all, try tucking your chin to your neck, just really alleviating any pressure. Anytime we're doing any standing positions, make sure you do not lock out your knees, just a slight bend in that hinge. We always want a slight bounce in our knee joint. 1 more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, make a noise. Inhale, back to center. Reach your hands up. Go ahead and grab your left wrist, right fingertips around your left wrist, and reach over to the right. Same thing on our right side. If your neck has any discomfort, try tucking your chin to your neck, just releasing your head. Keep a slight bounce in your knee joint. Just a little bounce, nothing crazy. One more breath on our left side. Inhale. Exhale, make a noise. Inhale to standing. Shake your arms down and out. On our next inhale, step your right foot forward. So we want your feet to be about 6 inches apart. So right foot is forward, about 6 inches. And I want your feet to be on skis, not a snowboard. So my feet are in line with my hips. Put your hands on your hips. Reach your elbows back and start to lean your heart forward. We want to go forward first and then down. We're heading into a big stretch for the back of your leg. So reach forward, and you might start to feel that stretch already. And if you feel that stretch already, great, we can stop right here. If you feel like you can go a little more, now you can start to fold down. Big stretch in our hamstring. And same thing, we do not want your right leg to be locked, slight bend. And if bending helps you get into your stretch, that's perfectly fine. We don't want a full 90-degree bend here, but any bend to make this an easier stretch, great. Listen to your body. 2 more breaths here. Reach your chest forward, maybe a centimeter more. Inhale. Exhale, make a sound. Inhale, lift up. We're going to switch your feet. So step your left foot forward, right foot back, hands on your hips. Same thing, step your feet about 6 to 10 inches apart, feet on skis, not a snowboard, hands on hips. Pull your elbows back, heart forward. We want to go forward first, then maybe down. So start leaning forward. Maybe you start to feel a stretch in the outer left hip, maybe your hamstrings. If this is an intense stretch, awesome, stop here. If you feel like your body can do a little more, start to go down. We went forward first, now we're going down. Slight bend in your left knee, keep a little bounce in that hinge. One more breath, we got this, you're doing great. Inhale. Exhale, make a noise. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sigh it out. Step your feet together at the top of your mat, and we're going to start to do that moon flow. So we're going to go back and forth, not necessarily right foot, then left. So it might be a little different. I promise I'll bring you back to the front. And here we go. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, lean with your chest forward, coming into a forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to try and touch the ground. If the ground is too far away, hands can come to your hips. Bend your knees a lot. We're trying to release any tension in your low back. So bending your knees, great way to release any tension in your low back. Try to let your head hang to release any tension, any stickiness that can be hanging out in your neck. Breathe into your neck. Try to feel what it is like to send breath to the back of your neck. On your next inhale, try to imagine that breath going to the back of your neck and maybe letting your neck just get a little longer, expand a little more. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths. Take what you need. Exhale what you do not. If at any point your hips get a little tender being in this position, you can always step your feet a little wider than hip width distance. That just might be a little easier on your hips if you have tender hips. 2 more breaths, whatever you need, take it now. Exhale, make a sound. 1 more together. Inhale. Exhale, make a sound. Inhale, bend your knees and come all the way to standing. Exhale, hands come to your heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up And step your right leg back so you're going to open wide, coming into a star formation. Heels in, toes out just a little bit, nothing extreme. Slight bend in those knee joints. Reach your fingertips wide, take up as much space as you can. Breathe in, reach your heart forward, maybe a slight back bend. Reach your chest a centimeter higher towards the sky. Breathe in. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. From here, we're going to inhale, lift your chest up, and take a wide-legged forward fold. So forward fold, same thing as our earlier pose. We want to go forward first, then down. So I'm going forward. I'm starting to feel the stretch in my hips. Maybe I stop here. Maybe I can start to go down a little bit. If at any point having your hands on your hips doesn't feel stable, always have the option, hands on thighs, or maybe even hands to the floor, hands on anything that brings the ground closer. We're going to be here for 3 breaths, trying to get a deeper stretch into our hamstrings. A lot of low back pain can be caused from tight hamstrings. If there is any advice I have to give to myself, to any human, it is to stretch our hamstrings more. One more breath in together. Exhale. Bend your knees as much as you need to bring your hands to the floor. And you're going to walk your hands towards your right foot. Walk your hands toward your right foot. And then start to turn your toes to the right. So my right toes are facing parallel with the mat. My left toes are perpendicular to the mat. My right heel is intersecting the left arch of my foot. I'm going to start to bend into my right knee. And I had to slide my left foot a little back because I needed a little wider base. If you need a wider base, take that adjustment. There is no rule in yoga that wherever we land, we have to stay. This is not gymnastics. We can adjust our feet. You do not get points knocked off. Once you find that sturdy base, try to bend into your right leg. Put your hands on your hips again and take your left hand. See if your left hip is kind of jutting out and if you can tuck it in. Very sassy like. Tuck it in, boom, left hip under. Great job. Next, we're going to add arms. If arms start to fatigue, we can focus on the legs and stay here. If we want to add arms, they come out like a T. Try to relax our shoulders and then reach your fingertips as far away from each other as you can. Any point this gets too intense, take that break, and you can drop right back in. Listen to your body. Listen to me second. 2 more breaths here. Exhale. 1 more breath. Exhale, make a sound. We're going to bring our hands to the ground to frame your right foot. Frame your right foot. Now, our feet are exactly the same. They're kind of odd. They're not quite lunge legs. Bring your right hand inside and just try to fold over as much as you can. This can be a very intense stretch in your outer right hip if you have tight hips. I'm one of those people. So just be cautious and kind of gentle into it. And if at any point it's too intense, come up to your thigh, forearm to thigh. And then whenever you get to a place where you feel a little sturdy, send your butt back just a little bit in space to really start to get into that inner thigh area. We have 2 more breaths. Take what you need. If it's too intense, take whatever pose feels better for you. Exhale. On your next inhale, bend your knees a lot, and your right toes are going to face back to match your left toes. We're back to where we were. Like I said, the moon pose is less one side than the other and more of back and forth. So we're back in our star pose. Inhale, reach your arms forward. Exhale, hands to hips. So my heels are in still, my toes are out. Hands to hips. reach your elbows back, like almost like they could touch each other. Just energetically try to send them back. That's going to open the shoulder blades, open the chest, and from there, try to tuck your pelvis under. It might feel like squeezing your butt cheeks together. Now, when I squeeze my butt cheeks together, I tensed my knees. So, wow, we have a lot going on and we're just standing here. It's amazing how much work we're doing. So, we're going to go through our little checklist again. Hands on hips. Try to bring our elbows back like they can touch. Whew, as far as we can. Then squeeze your butt cheeks or tuck your pelvis under. But did our knees lock? I know mine did a little bit. Check that bounce. Great job. From here, we want to make a figure 8 with our hips. Any shape. We're just getting any junk that might be stuck in our hips. If you hear any snap, crackles, and pops, no worries. Motion is lotion, and we're doing our body some good work today. So keep making those figure 8s. If you want to add a little more, arms can come out to that T, and it almost looks like I'm hula hooping. We have about 5 more figure 8s here. Take what you need. One more round, and then pause in the middle. Whether your arms are up or on your hips, start to go the opposite way in your figure 8s. And if you're rolling your hips around and you notice that one spot might just feel a little sticky, don't feel like you have to stay in this pattern. Stop. Maybe take a little extra time there. Send your breath there. Breathe in. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Hands to hips wherever we were at. And we're going to wide-legged forward fold again. So forward first, then maybe down. So hands on our hips. Chest lifted. Start to reach forward. Bounce in those hinge knees. Start to feel that stretch in your hamstrings. And maybe we stop here. Extra stability is always with us. Hands to thighs. Or hands to floor. Choose your adventure. You know your body. Wherever you're at, we're here for 4 more breaths. Take a second and notice if you feel a lot of tension in your shoulders or maybe the back of your neck. Those places are tricky and they hold a lot of tension. If you notice it, no big deal. Just exhale, sigh it out. Whew. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Everybody bend your knees enough that your hands can touch the floor and start to walk your hands to your left foot. Left toes turn to face the back of the mat. So my left toes now are parallel with the mat. My right foot is perpendicular. Left heel intersects my right arch. I'm going to start to bend into that left leg, hands on hips. We're going to do our sassy hip check. Hands on hips, tuck that hip under. Boom. Hands can stay on hips, arms out to a T. If your base isn't wide enough, remember, not gymnastics. We don't have to stick the landing on the first time. Adjust your legs to a comfortable base. Any point your arms get fatigued, hands on hips, hands at heart center. We have 3 more breaths. If your left leg starts to feel fatigued, breathe into it, take your break, hop back in, or don't. It's your choice. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Hands are going to come to the mat or forearm to your left thigh. Our feet are still kind of odd. They're in this warrior 2 feet, not our normal lunge feet. Hands inside. And then start to send your butt back just a little bit. Can be very intense for left outer hip if you have tight hips. No worries. Can always come up to that, to your left thigh, your left forearm on your left thigh. Send your butt back a little bit like you're trying to sit down in a chair. And you have 2 more breaths. If it is intense but not painful, there is a difference. Try to send your breath maybe to your left hip bone. Really visualize that left hip bone. 1 more breath. We got this. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, you're going to send your left toes to match your right toes. Inhale all the way to standing, arms up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. You're going to step your right foot to the top of your mat, and we have made it full circle. So we went back and forth, and we survived. Inhale. Exhale, reach forward with your chest, go into forward fold, bend your knees as much as you need to touch the floor. We're going to do one more moon sequence flow, and then we're going to do a floor series before we cool down and come to our final resting pose. 3 more breaths in this forward fold, bending your knees as much as you need to, feet as wide as they need to be so that your hips are comfortable, not achy, and you can hang out here for a good while. 1 more breath, inhale what you need. Exhale everything else you don't. Inhale, bend your knees, come all the way to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Next breath, take your right foot, step it back, coming into our wide leg fold, our star pose. Heels in, toes out, arms up, take up space. We're going to add on. Start to bend your knees to a position that feels comfortable, but is not as far back as a normal squat, but tucked in a little more. If you can imagine your shoulders sitting on your hip bones. Hands can be on your hips. Extra support offered if you don't want the strengthening and you want a nice juicy stretch. You can put your hands on your knees, push your knees back a little bit, really getting into your hip joints. Hands can be at heart center if you want the strengthening and a balance challenge. These are all your choices for you to make. I'm just here to give you options. We have 3 more breaths together. If you're experiencing fatigue in your hips, I am there with you. I understand. Try to breathe into it. Exhale any tension out. 1 more together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale all the way to standing. Heck yes. Hands to hips and just make big circles. Shaking out those hips. Whew. They just did so much great work for us. Make 1 more big circle. Coming to center. Great job. Turn your right toes so your right foot is parallel with the mat. Left foot stays as it is. Right heel intersects left arch. Start to bend into your right leg. We're going to add on a tinge. If you want to. Hands on hips. Option, add arms out. And breathe in. 3 more breaths, and we're going to add on a reverse warrior. We're going to tip back and add a side stretch. It's very similar to what we did at the beginning. 1 more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, sigh everything you don't need out. Inhale your arms up over your head. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and start to lean to the left. So my arms are reaching towards my left foot. What can happen here is as I lean, my right leg wants to stretch and come with me. Check in. And if that happened, no worries. Just rebend in. Easy solve. Reach your left fingertips toward your left toes and breathe in. 2 more breaths together. Inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Big inhale. Make a sound. Hands come back to our hips, and then they're going to go to the ground. Or if the ground is too far, no worries. That's why we have this handy dandy thigh. Put your forearm on your thigh. Send your butt back. Get into your stretch. Option, if this is going okay, if you feel good about it, to get a little more stretch, you can start to lift your big toe side of your right foot, coming onto the pinky edge of your right foot, and sending your knee to the right. opening your hip in a really big way. If you have the hip flexibility, but the balance maybe isn't there yet, no worries either. Bring that left knee down. Bring your left knee down, and you can try it this way. We have 2 more breaths. Take a break if it's intense. Exhale if it's intense, but you can stay. No judgment either way. Listen to your body. It's so wise. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Inhale, your right toes come over to match your left toes. So we're facing forward, and we're going to forward fold again. So hands to the floor, bend your knees a lot, or if that's not accessible, hands to thighs, or maybe hands to hips. Choose wherever you want to be. Choose whatever your body needs. Exhale any judgment, any doubt. 1 more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Bend your knees a lot. Inhale, come to standing. Hands on hips. Start to make circles. Go the opposite way you did the first time. And if you can't remember, that's okay. That just means you went circle, double, and I'm sure your hips will be fine with it. Take 1 more round of big circles. Excellent. Left toes are going to face parallel with the mat. Right toes stay where they are. Left heel intersects that arch. Bend into your right leg. Hands can stay on your hips, or your arms can come out to the T. You decide. We're going to add our reverse over here. After we're here for 3 juicy, lovely, make them whatever you need them to be, breaths. Fill up. Exhale, sigh out everything you don't need. Inhale, 1 more. Exhale, make a sound. Inhale your arms overhead. Grab your left wrist with your right fingertips and lean towards your right toes. Now check in with your left leg. It's possible it wanted to come along for that ride, for that stretch. I understand, but we need to bend back into it. So slowly bend back into your left knee if it's straightened out. And now it's perfect. Now we're Instagram ready, just like that. No worries, no stress. 1 more breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Hands to hips. Hands are going to go to the ground inside our left foot, or left forearm to left thigh. Send your butt back. An option on our left side to lift your left big toe, the big toe side of your foot coming onto your pinky edge, and opening your hip, getting into that deep socket. And if that feels good, you can also kind of rock massage. That's not an area that gets a lot of blood flow, so it's nice to kind of, excuse me, it's nice to kind of have motion. Sometimes we have this idea that yoga means stillness, and sometimes stillness is great, and sometimes it's not. Just always listen to your body. It'll tell you what it means. Again, option if the balance or maybe the wingspan of our legs is too much, that knee can always come down. 2 more breaths wherever you are at. If your left hip is getting fatigued, breathe into it. I understand we are almost there. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come to standing. Step your right foot to the top of your mat. If you need to pigeon toe your feet, I just did. No worries. To the top of the mat. Great job. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, let them fall. Sigh it out. 1 more like that. Inhale. Exhale. Any way you want, make your way to the seat on the mat. No special fancy way. I'll meet you down there. Feet stay out in front of us, and we're going to try and bring our feet to touch. So easy to gauge. The closer the feet are to my hip bones, the more intense hip stretch it is. So if I'm working on my hip flexibility, no worries. My feet can be outstretch, and they don't have to touch. The goal is to send them towards each other, but if they don't touch, no worries. So my feet can be out in front. Goal, have the feet to touch. If they're not there yet, that's okay. We're still doing the same stretch. I'm still getting a great stretch in my hips. Wherever you're at, hands to hips, and then we're gonna do something very similar, elbows back, heart forward. So same theme throughout class, forward first, and then maybe we'll think about down. So wherever our feet are at, forward first, and you might start to feel it in your hips right away. And if you do, great. If you're here and you want to go a little more, maybe you start to head down, forehead towards the floor. Choose your adventure. The goal is to have a stretch in your hips, outer glutes. If you have more hip flexibility and you can bring your feet to touch and a little closer to you, always the option to gently always just push your knees towards the floor to just add a little more stretch. Another option. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths, trying to slow it down, get some good gooey stretches in. Feel free to interlace your fingers behind your head, really emphasizing tucking your chin toward your chest and elongating the spine. Always a reminder, you don't have to do any of the options I give you. You could do one, you could do none. They're here to help you customize your practice because it is your practice for your body. 3 more breaths together. Last one, fill up your belly, then your chest with air. Sigh out everything you do not need. Slowly rise up. And bring your knees together. Knees together. Hands behind. So we're going to open the chest. And a few ways to do this. Palm of my hands towards my butt behind me. This can be kind of intense for our shoulders. So we can instead fist to the mat. And that could just be a little easier on our shoulders. So wherever we're at, find that sweet spot that works for us. And then heart forward. And maybe you lift your chin up. If there's any discomfort in your upper back or neck, gaze can stay forward. We're just trying to open our chest. If you're someone who is on the computer a lot or you text a lot, we spend a lot of time concave. So anytime we can just open the chest. Maybe imagine you're sitting on a beach if that works for you, or any happy place for you. Mine, sometimes my yoga mat, sometimes mine is sitting on a porch. Whatever yours is, breathe into it. Exhale, make a sound. One more, inhale. Exhale. With feet planted, hands come under your knees. We're going to work on a boat progression for our abdominal muscles. So chest open. Whew, see that? Shift my shoulders, go back, chest open. It can kind of feel like squeezing your elbows into your rib cage too. And so from here, I'm going to start to tip back. When I tip back, it's really easy to concave again. No worries, check in. Try to keep that back and chest as flat as possible as I lean back. Hands under my knees, lean back. You might start to feel that core engagement. Whenever you feel that core engagement, you can stop. Maybe you can go a little further, and we're going to breathe into it. Option, you can lift your hands. This might turn on your quads a little bit, and if you feel a lot of engagement with your feet gripping, Turn into your belly button more. Really squeeze your belly button. Or maybe that just means it's time to keep our hands under if we're using our calves too much. If you notice your breath hitched when you add an option, maybe that's a key to go back down and our body wasn't ready yet, and that's okay. 2 more breaths here. Last one. If anything's shaking, we're going to give it a break. Inhale. Exhale, lean forward and just drape yourself over your legs. Head can be released in between your knees. Trying to tuck your chin as much as possible. I know we had some nice deep stretching because my hips are shaking a little bit, which is okay. My body telling me it probably needed that stretch. Taking this moment to just breathe in and listen to your body and try to hear what it's saying. It's just like any relationship. The more we listen, the more we understand. So, and the more we spend time with it, the more we understand. So just thank yourself in this moment for spending this hour with your body, giving yourself this time. And thank your body for all the amazing work it has done for you. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. We're going to do both one more time. So set up, hands under knees, chest forward. Start to lean back, trying to keep that plane. Once you find that spot where you feel your ab muscles tighten, lean in, squeeze your belly button a little more. Whew. Try not to cape. It's okay if it happens. Just readjust. Option to lift your hands. Or you can keep your hands hooked and start to maybe lift your feet. There is no right or wrong. There's only what your body is calling for. Whichever option you have chosen, we have 3 more breaths together. Breathe in. Exhale, try to soften your shoulders. I know it's a big ask. Whew. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. You can do it. Exhale, lean forward. Drape yourself over your legs. One more time. Sigh it out. Whew. Two more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale anything that's no longer serving you. Mine is junk emails. Exhaling all of those out. One more breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Make your way to your back. If the boat wasn't enough for you and you want more abdominal challenge, you can very similarly, chest and back, lift it. Try to roll onto your back nice and slow. The slower you go, the more your abs are going to feel it. If you are over that, no big deal. Make it to your back. It is your choice. Bring your right knee into your chest. Send your left leg straight out. Try to bring your right knee towards your right armpit. And then just start to make a circle with it, like you're stirring a big pot of soup with your right knee. Nice big circles. Like I said, sometimes static is great, sometimes movement is great. So we're just kind of getting into that lymphatic system a little bit by rolling this around. We did a lot of hip stretching today. So just being a little gentler to our hips as we cool down before we take our nice rest. Next time your knee comes towards your armpit, go ahead and pause. And then start to send your knee to the right. I like to hold my knee out with one arm, but that can be kind of intense. So whatever you need, whatever depth, what you want to try to experience is a stretch in your right hip. Mine is on my inner hip, but you could feel it anywhere around that hip area. Just opening the hip. We're doing it one leg at a time versus a full happy baby. just because I think since we did so much hip, it's nice to kind of focus in. Breathe in. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, side out. Bring your knee to the center and then take it all the way to the left, coming into a supine twist. The goal here is to keep both of your shoulder blades on the mat. So that can mean pulling your right hip back. One thing I have found that helps is interlacing your fingers behind your head, like you're stargazing or looking at puffy clouds. That helps weight my right shoulder down. Breathe in. Allow your breath to return to its natural state. And maybe trying to notice where you feel the breath the most, whether it's the cold air passing your nostrils, or maybe the sensation of your chest rising and falling. Whatever it is for you, focus in on that. And if you start to notice your mind wandering or thinking about junk emails or grocery lists, that's okay. That's what the mind does. That's what being alive means. Try to focus on how you feel the breath. Inhale to center. And then bring your left knee into your chest. Send your right leg long. I'm sorry for the phone ringing if you can hear it. Left knee into your chest. And then try to send it to your left armpit. Right leg is outstretched long. Make your big pot of soup circles. Oof. Just motion is lotion is what I would knit on pillows if I could. And like I said, just getting into that lymphatic system a little bit. Any sticky areas, stay in there, maybe rolling it out. Next time your knee comes towards your armpit, pause, and then start to send your leg out to the left. I like to hold my knee with my left hand. Whatever works for you. Send your left leg out to the left. A modified half happy baby. And wherever your leg is, just try to find a place where you can hold, feel that stretch. Breathe into it and try to soften your face. Check in with your mind and see where it's at. Maybe bring it back to the breath. Next, inhale, bring your knee through center all the way over to the right, coming into a twist. You can try my shoulder trick again by interlacing your fingers behind your head. Might help weight that left shoulder down. Whatever you need here. If you notice you're holding any tension in your body, maybe lifting your hip or not letting yourself to fully melt into the ground, try to surrender to gravity. Try to let your shoulders melt a little more. On our next inhale, bring your left knee into your chest, followed by your right knee. And then bring your nose towards your knees. Breathe in. Exhale, your legs come out wide, your arms to your side. One last effort. Maybe you try to walk your shoulder blades under your back to lift your chest a little more, coming into your final resting pose. This can be some of the hardest work in our yoga class. If your mind doesn't want to be here or is preferred to the work, the sweaty part of yoga, I understand. Try to focus on your breath, the sensation of it, and with every exhale, melt more into the ground. And noticing where we feel that discomfort in our body. Is it fidgety fingers, wiggly toes, tense shoulders, whatever it is, sigh it out. Sigh out what no longer serves you. On your next inhale, start to bring movement back to your fingers and toes. Roll out your wrists and ankles. And then reach your arms overhead, point your toes. Big full body stretch. And when you're ready, come to any seated position that you feel comfortable in, knowing that when you are here, you are always accepted however you are. Bring your hands to heart center. Inhale with me and sigh it out. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Have a great day. Bye.